100 times, but every time I see it, I still have that feeling. Did anyone else get really inspired from that? Yeah? Okay. Well, for me, first of all, let me ask this question. So, for any of you guys, were any of you immigrants? Did any of that? Yeah? Where are you from? Romania. Anybody else? Where are you from? Mexico. How about second generation? Anybody's parents were immigrants? Okay. Well, this video really hits home for me because I'm from a place called Tashkent. Sounds very exotic. Can anyone guess what country that is? Not Russia.
Prague?
Tashkent.
Canada.
Not Canada. All right. So this, I was actually born in a country that doesn't exist anymore, but now it's called Uzbekistan. And let me tell you, Uzbekistan is not a place with a burgeoning economy. It's a place with a dictator who's been in power for like 20 years with no signs of letting go. And it was in the 80s, it was part of the former Soviet Union. There it is, right there, with that arrow. And my dad, who is in the audience right there, let's give it all a hand for my dad. So, well, you were clapping, you don't even know why you're clapping yet, but my dad is the epitome of an entrepreneur. He was a doctor, he was the head of the dermatology department in Tashkent at a great hospital, and he could see that there was just not opportunity there for his children or for his own future. So he dropped everything, and he and my mom took myself and my brother with 2 suitcases to the United States, which is a place, you know, with the, not golden paved roads, but definitely the land of opportunity. And so then we landed here, and now we're in Chicago, and I don't know where I would be if, you know, who knows where I would be if it wasn't for my dad. So let's again give a hand for my dad. And my mom, obviously. And you know, I think it's really interesting. So we kind of take these stories for granted about how America is the land of opportunity, but the next time, just think about it, really is like there's so many other countries in the world, like every other country in the world, you just don't have the same opportunities. And I think that in the US we really take it for granted because we have all this other minutia going on that it's just not important. So the next time you kind of are feeling down, just think about the fact that, you know, someone in Uzbekistan really wishes that they were here right now. So this is me. I'm going to talk a little bit about myself. And this is actually less than 2 years ago, if you can imagine. This is me at my graduation. I really had no idea what I was going to do with my life. I was like graduating into one of the worst economies ever. And I had this crazy idea that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. And everybody thought I was crazy because I went to Northwestern, and if you go to Northwestern, everybody goes into consulting or investment banking. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to start a startup. I'm going to be an entrepreneur. And they're like, okay, that's cool. But so I didn't know what I was going to do, but I knew in my heart that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. And so I decided to ask myself a few really simple questions, and I want everyone in the audience to think about the answers to these questions for you. Now the first is, what are you passionate about? Now, we kind of already talked about that, but I think that dig down deep, like, is it fashion? Is it helping people? Is it the environment? It could be anything. Can someone maybe throw out a few things about what they're passionate about? Photography? What else? Sports? What's that? Oh, lowering prices? Okay. So for me, it was about creating something of value, wanting to be at the beginning of something that could be potentially a really cool thing. Then, a different question that may seem similar, but it's actually really different, is what's important to you? Do you see the nuance between what you're passionate about and what's important to you? It's like, do I want to be in an environment where I can learn from somebody? Do I want to be in an environment where I can rise quickly if I do really well? Do I want to be in a place where I can go back to school in a few years? Like, what is it that's really important to you and that you want out of your next venture? And then, if anybody recognizes Office Space, right? The kind of overlooked question is, who do you want to be surrounded by? spending more time with their coworkers than you spend with your family. So who's it going to be? Is it going to be people who are younger than you? Is it going to be people who are a lot older? Is it going to be people who are a lot smarter? Is it, what are some other qualities of I guess, coworkers or things that might make that decision for you guys? Funny? What's that? They have views. People who are optimistic. And
Athletes.
athletes share the same passion. So positive, very good. So these are things that you want to think about because, especially as an entrepreneur, your founding team is going to be, it's just going to be the core of the business, and the culture and everything about the business is going to go from the top. So I asked myself these questions and I ended up with, oh, and I guess for me, the thing that was really important for me is to work with people who are a lot smarter than me. That was my one requirement, was that I want to go to work or I want to build a company and I want to feel stupid every day because that way I know I'm going to be learning. So these are just some tips about dreaming, I guess, or formulating a dream. So a lot of talk about entrepreneurship is about taking risks, but there's a lot of ways that you can really mitigate your risk. Like for example, you go into a startup and you choose your other founders. One way to mitigate risk is to make sure that they have different talents or different sets of experience than you have, or people who have been serial entrepreneurs, or just a business that you do market research and you see that already there's 100 customers before you've even launched the product. So that's one way. Those are some ways to mitigate risk. The next is to trust yourself. Don't listen to that LBS. Really, don't let people tell you that you're too young or that you're a girl or that they're not going to take you seriously or whatever it is. Just trust yourself and believe in yourself, and you can do, anything that you set your mind to. And that goes into anything is possible. I'm sure when Andrew Mason started Groupon in 2008, when it was The Point, and it was just, does anybody know what The Point is, how Groupon started? No? It's actually kind of a cool story. So Andrew Mason, who's the founder of Groupon, he was a public policy student at the University of Chicago. And he had this idea that they would have all these rallies and political events, and no one would show up, so it would be stupid. The whole point of the event was to get people there, and nobody would go. So he created this website called The Point, and the idea was that you have this cause, let's have a fundraiser for a women's shelter. And then 100 people had to commit to showing up there on a Saturday morning. And if 100 people didn't sign up, they wouldn't do it. But if 100 people did, and they showed up, then they would actually go ahead and do it. It's kind of a cool idea. Is it starting to sound familiar? So these other two guys came in, and they were like, hey, this isn't making any money. But what are some other applications for this business that it actually could make money? And that's how Groupon was started. So that's the Groupon creation story. And then the last point is, if you fail, if you have any roadblocks, just keep on dreaming. Keep on, go on to the next business idea, pivot, turn around. If it's not this idea, like The Point, maybe it will be the next Groupon. So the next part of the dream, learn, do is to learn. And I think that in learning, there are two different kind of sets of learning. One is to learn from people, and one is to learn from other resources. So I'm just curious, how many out there have joined LinkedIn? Okay, how about, has anyone been to a meetup? And okay, Twitter we already talked about. So already, there's a small minority of you that are taking advantage of these awesome tools that are meant to connect people in a way that they've never been connected before. So we're going to watch a quick video, and hopefully it'll stream the whole way through, about how powerful social media is today.